Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to Monday Morning Jumpstart. Everybody, y'all come on in. I know it's rainy outside in Georgia, but you know what? We've got some things going on today. And guess what? You know what I'm about to say, right? It's a brand new week. You have a clean slate, a fresh canvas. How many of y'all, when you were in elementary school, loved to get like that piece of construction paper that was fresh and a brand new box of crayons? That was me. I didn't really care anything about math, I'm gonna be honest, but I lived for art class because I could just dream. And yes, I'm a dreamer, y'all. And I'm dreaming about the week to come. I've got some things to talk about today. So, y'all come on in here. We're talking about the audacity of hope. Now, if you are here for the very first time, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. We are super excited that you're here. This is Monday Morning Jumpstart, where professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders of all kinds get together to talk about power plays. We're talking about power plays right now in the season when, you know what, we've all been trying to figure out how to just kind of do things differently. We call it mastering the shift. So y'all come on in, and I want you to do one of my favorite things. Y'all know what I'm about to say. I need you to get your coffee, your tea, whatever it is. I need you to grab your stuff because we're going to lean in for a little bit. And I've got one of the best preacher, teachers, leadership experts, my brother, Andy Smith from Influencers Kennesaw. Y'all give it up for Pastor Andy Smith. I got him all to myself this morning, y'all. I am super excited. Hey, Pastor Andy.
Hey, good morning, Karen. Hey, thanks so much for letting me hang out with you this morning. That was too
Yeah.
kind, too kind. Good to see you.
Well, listen, thanks for joining me. You know, I'm always up for a chit chat about, you know, all the things that we're doing here in the Rock Your Vision community and the things that are going on in the world at large. But the way that we do it is we try to look at how we master the shift. So when we started the year, for those of you that are new and you've not joined us before, we started the year with this theme called Play Bigger. I mean, we had an in-person event. We had our t-shirts. We had our Rock Your Vision swag. We had speakers. We completed our vision boards. We were set for the year. And then March happened, y'all. Okay, I'm just saying. March happened, and I can't talk about it right now. but we're going to talk about it because we have to talk about it, y'all. And here we are. Let's see, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So 6 months later, half a year later, and we've been through a little bit of everything in this community and around the world, haven't we? We've been through some stuff. Pastor Andy, you've been through some stuff in the past 6 months.
Yeah, there's just a few obstacles we've had to figure out how to overcome, but just a few, right?
Just a few. Nothing major. But you know what?
Oh
We've
man.
decided that as we sit here on the cusp of October, we're already in fall. Some of you in kind of the northern states and far up east and out west are experiencing cooler temperatures in the Midwest already. I saw yesterday, I forget where it was, that they had a beautiful snow. Like the seasons are changing. And you know what I'm beginning to see and experience and feel? There's this kind of groundswell. I think there are all these different things going on. And you know, there's nothing new under the sun. And I think things are interconnected, but we're on the cusp of an election. We have all of these kind of things that feel heavy in the atmosphere. We've got fires raging in the West still. You know, people are feeling the impact where companies are closed. They got all these things going on. And there's this groundswell of almost a desperation for what's next. And as I began thinking about how to respond to that myself, how to talk about that with my clients, friends and family, it occurred to me that there's one thing that over my lifetime I've seen be the antidote to fear and hopelessness. It's hope.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds really basic. Like, I'm not trying to be super deep here. Okay. I'm not trying to be deep, y'all. But we're going to talk about today the audacity of having hope in this season where it feels like hopelessness is on the menu everywhere you turn. I refuse to give into hope. And so today, I refuse to give into fear.
That's
And
right.
hope is what I'm eating. Hope is what I've got on my plate. Y'all can quote me, okay? Because I refuse to give into fear. I refuse to let overwhelm suck the joy out of my life. Can I get an amen? That was good, Karen. That was good.
Come on.
Pastor Andy, I need you to comment on that.
Yeah, I think what you describe is as we're all more keenly aware of just how much of life we don't control with all of these phenomenons that we never thought we'd face.
Yeah.
The 2020 is synonymous with a lot of new realities for us, and I don't know if they're just new realities. I think they're just new awarenesses of what we're aware
Yeah.
of. Like no one ever thought there would be a pandemic that would crush the world for a season and then have major implications. We all thought there were a certain amount of givens that would never ever ever be challenged, and now that they
That's
are,
right.
we are keenly aware when anything happens at this point in time. Like you mentioned, the weather is different than it usually. It's never like this. We are on high alert because fear has said, get ready, get ready, get ready. The next,
Right.
the next, stick is about to fall. The next, challenge is about to come at you. And then on top of that, we're facing an election year. We're facing so many social challenges today. So we are just keenly aware of what's going on. And what we do in those times is we create this scenario in our lives of everything is unstable. So we don't need hope now. We need fear. We don't need, we don't need faith now. What we need is control. And so we default to the things in our lives that tend to protect us and prepare for the worst instead of continuing to push forward with a lot of confidence that, look, we still are heading in the right direction. So we are keenly aware, right? We're keenly aware of how fragile life is now.
Yeah, I love that. I told y'all it was going to be good, and we're just getting started. I want to pop into the comments and just say, good morning, Philip Williams. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you in here. He says, another new dawning. Amen. I'm here for that. Let's see. We have, Coach Kyla Charlemagne is in the house. Hey, Coach Kyla, what's up, girl? How you doing? Listen, I want to hear from you on this topic of hope because Coach Kyla is like, she's the infusion of energy and hope we all want to have and we all want to be. If you are here in the stream, I want you to just shout out your name in the comments. I want to know you're here. Do us a favor. We want to talk about the audacity of hope today. We're going to give you some power plays and some strategies. We're going to keep it really real. So y'all need to lean in. Okay. Tighten your belt loop because we're about to get real in here. But you know what? We're going to mount an assault on fear this morning. And so I'm super excited to be able to do that with Pastor Andy Smith. And we want the world to join the conversation right here, right now for Monday Morning Jumpstart. So do me a favor, share this or just send a note to your peeps and say, Monday Morning Jumpstart is on. I need y'all to get up here in the comments because you know what? What I really like, my dream is that y'all would take what we're talking about here and then go out into your areas of influence and talk about it. Share the power plays. Come up with your own power plays. We want you to be a part of the conversation and we want to get it going all around the world. So share everywhere you can. And we're going to start saying thank you in a real way to those of you who are doing the shares and the watch parties. We're going to start sending a little something your way. I'm just saying. So we're trying to get started with all of that. We want to share and talk about it. So, Pastor Andy Smith, you said so much a second ago, and I'm curious if you could ask the live stream community a question. If you could ask the live stream community a question about hope, what would you ask them?
That is good. I think I would want to know where most people place priority of hope when they are fully aware of all the emotions around them at the time. So let me see if I can say it a different way. We all know that hope is important, but when I have fear, when I have anxiety, when I have a sense of rejection or brokenness,
Yeah.
where do I place the value of hope in all of that? Where do I see hope's role in those seasons or in those moments? I think that'd be the question I ask, because I think getting a feel for where the value is placed on hope, or how much value is placed on hope, really determines how powerful hope can be in our lives during these moments of great challenge. So I think I'd want to know where do people place value on hope in times of crisis? How important is hope in those times of crisis?
How important is hope in times of crisis? I need a minute on that, y'all. That's deep. How important is hope in moments of crisis? I need somebody to jump into the comments and answer that question, okay? How important is hope in moments of crisis? It reminds me of the experience that I had when my mom became ill. And y'all know that this is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. September is. We've been celebrating her birthday all month long. And really, the story there is I was her full-time caregiver. And when we got the news, y'all, that mom was experiencing this, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, I felt hope. Oh no, nope, nope, nope. I was mad, y'all. I was just full on mad. And then I went into the grief cycle, right? And it felt like, I don't know about y'all, if you've ever had bad, tragic news or news that you weren't expecting about someone that you loved, it literally feels like the air gets sucked out of the room, right? Right? It just like you cannot breathe. And so what do? You go into fix it mode. Okay, what do we do? How do we get an airbag? Who needs an airbag first? You go into scramble mode, right? There's no time in that moment to think about hope. If I'm being honest, right? Pastor Andy, would you say that's true, that in that moment, like you're not thinking about that?
Yeah, sure. And when hope is not allowed to speak at the table when you're going through crisis,
Yeah.
then most of the time you're not fully making objective best case scenario decisions for how to
Right.
traverse the challenge. Because what we
Right.
do is in the times of crisis, at least for me, I tend to say, okay, hope, I look at hope being kind of that. No, you're not valuable right now, hope. We've got a crisis right now. Don't bring hope into the conversation. I need fear. I need anxiety. I need you guys to tell me just how things are. And hope's like, hey, I want to speak to you and say, hey, this too shall pass. Or like, look, let's not make life-changing decisions without thinking about what's going to happen after we overcome this moment. And we're like, no, hope. Do you not see how terrible this is? You're not valuable. We'll call you when things are good, and then we'll talk about
Yeah.
hope. But I think it's in times of crisis that we need to reinsert the voice of hope. If not, then what we do is we react instead of respond, and we allow how all the emotions and all the anxieties to begin speaking, and we make life-changing decisions that sometimes cause us to forfeit what what the future could be. And hope comes in and brings a
Wow.
balance to those moments. Hope says, look, this may be the first time you've experienced this, but this isn't the first time that
Mm,
humanity has faced this. So back up, take a deep breath. Let's make
come
sure
on.
you're getting all the counsel so that when you
Mm,
face what you face, we can walk forward, because this season will end. And that's what we got to tell ourselves. This season will end. Now, we may look different on the other side, but this season will
but that's
end.
okay,
And
right? Yeah.
you're right. And we gotta be prepared to how are we going to live after this season is over, still being who we were created in essence to be.
Yeah. Philip Williams says, hope in my time of crisis makes the uncomfortable comfortable. Hope makes those moments of fear more bearable. Come on, that's so good, right? Because hope does not extinguish the reality of what you're going through. Hope gives you a path to get through what you're going through. I just felt something up in here, just a little something like that just landed with me. Coach Akila says, without hope, I would have fallen apart and stayed there. Come on. Hope, yes, hope is a vehicle, right? Hope and faith is ultimate. I'm loving this, y'all. I need you to just pop in the comments and tell me when you have leaned on hope when things were a little bit dark. Come on. I need you to hear that and let that sit with you, because we're going to pull from, if you're not feeling hopeful right now, I want you to know that if you're watching this, if you're here right now, somewhere in your lifetime, you've held on to hope. You've made it this far. And I promise, I know, I may not know you, but I know you've been through some things. Hope says, just like Pastor Andy, you will get to the other side, right? When we experienced COVID-19 for the first time, and those first few weeks, we felt like the world was ending. Now, the world was still rolling on its axis, but there were so many things going on that we had never seen before, right? We had trusted in the things, the infrastructure, our hospital systems, all of those things gave us this sense of security. And all of those things, when they let go, when they fell apart, when they no longer could talk to each other, we were like, oh my gosh. And you said something earlier, Pastor Andy, about we tend to run to control, right? Come on, I need you to unpack that, because I think there's a hope connection in that reality, in that awareness, that we tend to go to control. And I want you to unpack for a minute what happens when we do that and what's the alternative. Come on, talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're all fairly naive.
Yeah.
We're naive to our own experiences.
Yeah.
So it's why empathy tells me, you know what, I can understand what you're going through and I have compassion for that. But sympathy says, man, I feel what you feel, because I've stood in those shoes. And we're all fairly
Yeah.
naive, right? So since we're all fairly naive, we have some level of thought that we control a lot more than we actually do control. And then when we
Yeah.
face an out of the blue, didn't think this could have ever happened. We've all heard those
Right.
stories. They were in the perfect health, and then just all of a sudden their life was taken from them. Or
Mm,
everything was going fine and then had this, crisis. And we're like,
yeah.
wow, we have trained ourselves. And for that matter, we have built a little bit of our confidence on a house of cards that
Yeah.
doesn't take into account that we're all still a part of a world and a culture that we control very little. In fact, if
Right.
we really reduce it to what we control, we just really control how we even ourselves respond or behave in a world of a lot of things around us we don't control. And so,
Mm,
but our temptation is, let me eliminate anything I don't control as a way of survival. Because if I have this sense of, all right, we're not out of control, or all right, the doors are locked, the alarm's set, all right, I've
mhm,
done everything I can do, then really what
mhm.
we're talking about is then I can somehow make peace that either
Mhm.
what we're facing is something I didn't create, or number two, what we're
Mhm.
facing, I've done the right things to get us through this. There is this sense that I have got to do more, or I've got to change things, because we want relief. That's what we really want. We want
Mm.
relief from the moment, because we are
Yeah.
uncomfortable with
Come
now how
on.
we feel. And that's the biggest problem with leadership, right? Leadership is, how do I wrestle with my own insecurities while letting everybody else know I've got it under control? But nobody's gone through this, right? So we just want relief from the moment
We want
to then be
relief
able to,
from
like,
the moment.
right, like, so here we are. That's why control is such a control is a mirage, by the way. It really is a mirage.
Mm.
And
What do you mean by that?
ultimately,
Control is a mirage.
yeah, because as a leader, what do you control? You don't really control much outside of you, because at the end of the day, what happens for, I think, all of us is, we tend to believe that I can really force you to do something, or force people around me to do something, or force things to respond the way
Mhm.
I want them to by my own power.
So let's stop right there, because this whole concept of control, where it's related to leadership, is a thing. And you know, I've had the question asked of me, well, hope isn't really a leadership strategy. And I was like, "Uh, okay, because I'm not coming to work for you." Because hope is so much more than a leadership strategy. But I think when we lean only on control, right? We all know these leaders who try to do things by control. We might call them micromanagers, or maybe they're authoritarians, and they're busy talking at you but not to you. I mean, come on, y'all. You know, you've seen those leaders where in times of crisis they go too far, right?
Mhm.
So where does hope fit in that? Hope
Mm.
makes space for what's possible. Come on. And hope makes space for the people who are going to make it possible.
Come on. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's good. That's
yeah.
good. And the reason that that's important is because hope isn't passive.
Mm-mm. No, 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 no. That's good.
I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. I need you to fill the air, Pastor Andy, while I get a
Well, it's
minute.
true. Well, so it's true. So control doesn't empower influence. Control
Mm,
never empowers influence. What control does in this, I think, is control tries to project I'm intelligent. That's why we're doing this.
mm.
So control is self-serving in a lot of ways. Even if I'm saying I'm doing this for others, control is, it kind of points back to I'm intelligent. Hope actually is the food that fuels influence, because people are attracted to
No, wait,
someone.
say it again. Say it again. I need you to I gotta get that. What?
Hope is actually the food that actually produces the fuel for influence, because no one wants to follow a pessimistic, controlling, discouraged leader. Nobody wants to work for that environment. And so hope is the coach that allows you to see you're 20 points behind at halftime, but say, we got a half to play, and I'll tell you how we're going to come back. Hope is the leader that says our fourth quarter looks very bleak, but I promise you, by the time we hit first quarter, you stay the course with us. You're going to see us bust through with a first quarter that's going to be unlike you ever seen. Hope is food that if we don't consume, think about hope like organic avocados, right? It's
Mm,
the good fat,
mm,
right? It's the kind of
mm.
stuff that you need that has all these antioxidants, what you need. Instead, we're munching on frozen dinners of control that on the back of the package says it's got this and this and this and this. And we think, hey, everybody eat this. And we all subconsciously, when we work for somebody that's highly controlling, are aware of two realities. One, they're trying to cover their own backside because they don't want to lose. And nobody wants to play for a team that's not wanting to lose. Everybody wants to play for a team looking to win. Everybody wants to be around that.
Doesn't control kind of suffocate hope?
100%. It's synthetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Control.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to the greatest win of control is that someone will say that leader's intelligent, and then that leader feels like they're smart. And it's a false reality because you can be the smartest person in the room and nobody's following you. Right? We all know that. We all know that a lot of the people having the greatest impact are not necessarily the smartest people, but they are people that are feeding off the food of hope that really gives them the compassion and the love of humanity that everyone else is attracted to, that says they've got a perspective on how to get through and get and overcome. I'm willing to bring what I bring. Let me tell you what hope does. A hope attracts talent. Hope attracts solutions. Control will never do that.
You know, it reminds me, I have the pleasure of working for some of the best brands in the world. And when I go into these organizations and talk to employees and leaders, when I look at their teams, the folks who have the most influence are usually not the ones, come on, that have the title, but they are the ones who are hearing what people are talking about and are giving people something to hope for. Y'all gonna get that in a minute. You're gonna go look at your teams and look at them completely differently. So the question then becomes, when we're talking about leading during a time when it feels like there's no hope out there, control is not the answer, right? You can translate hope into a leadership strategy. My son is playing football for the first time ever this year. Go Wolverines. And they were down in the third quarter by like 20 some odd points. For the record, I don't know anything about football other than there's a ball involved and some tight shorts and a hat. Anyway, they were down by like some 20 odd points. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened on the field. I wasn't there listening to the coach, but something happened where a player decided to make a move. He caught the ball. He intercepted the ball, went in the opposite direction. And Pastor Andy, I'm telling you, you could almost literally feel the groundswell of that team, of his teammates, like, hold on a second. We just did that.
Yeah.
They went on to win the game. Come on. It was a nail biter. Like I was hoarse, like I was on the side of the field, by the gate, embarrassing my son, doing all like that. Here's my point. It took one person.
Yeah.
It took one person to do something that changed the tide. Impossible odds were already there. Y'all are facing impossible odds already in your life.
Yeah.
When my mom was sick, I couldn't do anything about that. I'm not talking rainbows and unicorns, y'all. Y'all need to lean in here because this is truth talk. When you're facing impossible odds, the kind of odds that you don't talk about, the kind of odds that nobody knows about because you ain't telling anybody, okay? The kind of impossible odds, all it takes is the belief and the action. That's what hope is. Belief with action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hope is not passive. So you're thinking, I'm stuck, right? I don't have an answer. I can't get anybody to listen to me. We've been talking about women's health, and I know what it's like to go to the doctor and to feel like you haven't been heard, knowing that, you know what, you still don't feel well. Hope is audacious, and hope is indignant.
Yeah.
Hope says, oh no, this isn't the end. Because here's what I believe with all my heart. As long as you have a pulse, you have a purpose. If you have a purpose, then whatever it is that's happening to you is a setup for what it is you need to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Y'all need to hear what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to start preaching in a minute. I'm not going to do that. But we're going to talk about, Coach Akila says, hope isn't passive. That is so true. And Philip Williams says, and if you're a leader and no one is following you, then you're just taking a walk. Philip Williams, you better stop. Somebody says here, that was rich. Pastor Andy, give me avocados, please. Whoever said that, I need to know who that is. Is that that sounds like that sounds like Alicia Newton, but I don't know. Christy Kent says, so good. Control will leave you stuck, and hope opens up possibilities and solutions. Yeah, y'all, come on. Oh my goodness, y'all wait for it. Hold on just 1 second. Tawana Minor is in the house. My girl, my sister, my boo, my bestie. Tawana Minor is in the house. Pastor Andy, have you ever met Tawana Minor?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
We need to make that happen. This is a world changer. I'm serious. This is a woman who will get on a plane by herself and go to Greece with nothing more than a backpack. And I'm not making that up. She went to Greece with nothing more than a backpack and came back looking all rosy and like she was about to change the world. And she does. Anyway, Tawana Minor says, amen. Giving hope is so powerful. It's important to be a giver of hope than feeding into the narrative that's hopeless. Good morning. Okay, I'm here for it, y'all. This is so good. Okay, so hope in the midst of impossible circumstances. That sounds good. Like that preaches really good. But what happens when you are in the midst of the journey? You're in the midst of impossible situations. Y'all know I'm an eternal optimist. I wake up singing and, I drive my family cray in the morning because for me, it's a chance to start all over. But when I was a caregiver to my mom, when I moved her into the house with me because we had run out of options for places that would take her. When I had been up for, 25 hours, there are only 24 hours in a day, y'all. You'll get it in a minute. When I had been up all night, got a couple hours of sleep and then had to go back to work in an environment where it was important that I smile at people and look like I had it all together, only to go home, work a 10-hour day, go home and walk in the door to mom being sick, to, a toddler on my knee saying, mommy, play with me. I'm just, maybe that's too heavy for y'all this morning, but I just need to keep it real because some of y'all are going through some things. Some of you that are watching the replay, just post #replay in the comments. Y'all are going through some things and you're sitting here listening to me and Pastor Andy talk about the audacity of hope and you just don't have it in you. You just don't have it in you. And I want to talk to you for a minute because one of the things that we miss about hope and that we don't talk enough about is that sometimes the path to hope starts with owning where you are. I hope that helps somebody because I'm telling you, I didn't discover it until after my journey because I beat myself up. I'm like, I should have more faith. I should believe more. I should be happy. Da 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 da. Okay. Or when I was experiencing divorce, and y'all don't know that story. That's too deep for y'all this morning. We're not even gonna go there. Okay, we're not gonna go there. Okay. Or when I experienced divorce and everybody's standing around, praise Jesus, doing the marriage. Are you coming to the marriage retreat? Y'all ain't ready for me this morning. I'm telling you, I had all that going on and I didn't feel like hope was possible. One of the things that set me free was recognizing that it was okay to say everything is not okay right now. Did y'all catch that?
Oh yeah, say it again.
Did y'all catch that? It's okay to say everything is not okay. Just because you own where you are does not mean that you don't have hope. Acknowledging where you are is like a point on a map. Come on. I need y'all to track with me. And I need you to share this with like 10 people. I'm serious. I need you to share this with 10 people because somebody needs to hear this. Acknowledging where you are says, here I am. When you don't acknowledge where you are, you don't allow yourself to start anywhere. Good night, Karen. Good night, Holy Spirit. Come on. You have to start somewhere. So I need y'all, when you're in the moment, professional, entrepreneur, community leader, I need you to recognize and acknowledge where you are. I did a workshop the other day with a group of community leaders. These are people who like have been doing it, like they're legends. Okay. And I said, tell me where you are. Another way to say that is tell me what you're feeling. They looked at each other and they were like, nobody's taken the time to ask. I've not had the time to think about it. Sometimes the path to hope, right? The first step is acknowledging where you are right now and being okay with that, right? Two things can be true at the same time. You can be spirit-filled, filled with the Holy Ghost, whatever, positivity preacher. As Mally Runkall says all the time, she's a beauty guru for those of you who don't know. I'm just saying. Call it what you want. You can be all of those things and be in a moment or a season where everything is not okay. Do not let anybody tell you that that is not okay. It is. And it is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Pastor Andy, I need you to get up in here and teach us.
No, I'm gleaming it in. I'm leaning in. You know, Karen, a couple of things you said here, I think really speaks to the audacity of hope. And one of, I think, the moves we have to make is we have to shift from being spectators in our own reality to owners of our own reality. And when you're an owner, that means you take responsibility, and responsibility gives you authority to do something about it. And there's power in authority.
Say that one more time. Say it one more time.
When you're an owner, you're taking responsibility, and responsibility gives you authority. You don't give authority to people who aren't taking responsibility. And so taking responsibility is kind of this, it's a bit of a catch-22 in our minds. It's this idea, if I take responsibility, then I'm guilty, which I don't know where that comes from. No, if I take responsibility, all I'm saying is I want to own where we are, because then I have the authority to do something about it and to change it. If you're a spectator to it, you can do nothing but yell in the stands. But when that young man decided he was going to take responsibility for where he was and look to make a play, he shifted everything for everybody around him, which leads to the point that people who lead in hope or eat the food of hope are constantly looking at everyday circumstances as opportunities to make a play that'll shift everything around them. And that's what then makes everyone go, wait a minute, you're a leader worth following. Because what you've done is, we're so busy with blame, and blame never really does much except for once we're over what we're over, helps us never to go there again. But in the midst of it, I have to take responsibility in order to have authority to shift things around me. And if I don't do that, then I will not have anything to be hopeful about. And that's go back to what you say. It's okay to say it's not okay. And then probably we need to go, so now what? Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take responsibility. I want to own this. This is
Yeah.
mine. This is my reality. And I don't know. We're so busy in this world with social media projecting something that's not real. We don't know how to live in reality because we don't project reality. Now let's just step back and talk about that. We're so busy in projecting something that we're not. You know what I'm saying? We're so busy
Oh,
projecting something we're not that what happens is, and here's what I really think is happening. It's the greatest attack against ourselves. When we project something we're not, then we've created our own prison from overcoming because we can't reconcile what we projected and really what we're living. We use these fancy languages to describe who we are. We try to tell people with innovative words that we're better than we are, thinking that it'll give us the advantage. The only thing that gives us the advantage is responsibility for our life, living in reality, and constantly knowing who we are, knowing what we are capable of, and running in reality and not losing hope.
listen to me. I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling some kind of way right now because I'm drinking all this in. Listen, if this is resonating with you and this is speaking to you, I need you to just put like a hands up or a fire emoji or something in the comments. Y'all don't forget to share this. It's not too late because we're still in the conversation. We want to get this in everybody's hands who needs it. So share it with your community, start a watch party, or when it's over, go back and share the replay with your thoughts and your comments. But you said something about responsibility. And I want for just a moment, for those of you who are standing on the sidelines feeling like, you know what, there's too much negativity going on out there for me to get in the game. Okay. I don't want to comment about politics or anything like that. And I'm with you. Most of the time, like there's been a few instances where I felt like I needed to come correct. But for the most part, I don't get involved in, hard conversations, and I don't do all that kind of stuff. And what I mean by hard conversations is I don't give a choir to political stuff and all like that. Why? Because, listen, I don't know where you're watching this, but we live in a democratic society, which means that the neighbor next to me on my left and my right, they have the right to have their own opinion. So I'm not going to preach to you. I'd rather live my life the way I need to. I've decided to be a lighthouse. What that means is hope is my theme. Okay. I want to help that person who needs to make it over to the next thing. I get it, right? Not everybody's going to be happy to see me. I got brown skin. I'm aware of what's going on in the world. Okay. I get that. But that does not mean that the person sitting across the hall from me or on the other side of the email or in Facebook land or wherever, it doesn't mean that I can't take responsibility for the things that are going to move the needle. Blame will not move the needle.
Yeah, that's right.
Action moves the needle.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Action moves the needle. So I want to encourage all of us in the Rock Your Vision community. We need to be lighthouses.
Oh, that's good.
So if you're in your Facebook stream and you're arguing and you're, going back and forth with people, you ain't changing anybody's mind. Now I'm meddling. I know I'm meddling. Pastor Andy, I need you to help me out here.
No. You're right on. You're right on because nobody reacts or responds to attack. Nobody says, thank you for attacking me. Now let me surrender. And that's the approach that most people take. People want you to show them a better way, not attack their current course. Nobody, look, they haven't worked in marriage for years. Husband and wife attack each other. And what it doesn't make you like, babe, I trust you all the more. You go, no, what's your end game? And you're like, we're married and I'm asking you what your end game. Here's what I tell people all the time.
Mm.
If you are married and you struggle with being attacked by your spouse, why do you think you're going to trust anybody you're not married to or not that intimate and vulnerable with, that you would trust what they say if it comes in a form of attack? Look, if my wife can't tell me things sometimes in a certain vein and for me to receive it, what's going to make me trust anybody outside? And the point is, people will only respond when you show them a better way, not constantly. And it doesn't mean we don't tell people the truth, but you don't start by assaulting, and you don't start by generalizing and attacking. And hope always says, here's the thing about hope. Hope even sees your enemy as a possible ally if they just understood what they're missing.
Say that one more time, Pastor Andy. I think the interweb is going to blow up in a minute. That was so good. Say it again.
Well, hope sees your enemy as a potential ally because it leads the belief that maybe what's missing is not the motive of their heart. It's the lack of understanding to what you may have opportunity to help them understand. And as long as I keep seeing enemies, I will never extend the rod of grace and compassion to help them be better, because I've chosen to already eliminate them from value added perspective. I see no value in them. They're my enemy. I'm going to write them off. So instead of uniting, I'm dividing. You cannot lead. This is what's confusing to me about people today that have been elevated as leaders around us. It's confusing to me how you can say you're leading people that the leadership has already excluded a certain demographic from being included. Whether it's a political affiliation, whether it's a social affiliation, whether it's a religious affiliation, the confusion to me is once I've concluded that everyone is not included, I'm no longer a leader worth following, because a leader is one that should always see possibility that all have the potential to change if they could understand what they don't understand. And that's what hope says. By the way, that is the audacity of hope, Karen. The real audacity of hope says my enemy is only my enemy because they aren't understanding. And so if I treat them as my enemy, here we go. If I even though they may in this current moment be my enemy, I don't have to treat them as an enemy. I can still honor, respect, value, even though our difference of opinion would cause us to be enemies. My hope is that they aren't my enemy and that they could become my ally.
Notice he didn't say friend. He said, there's a hope that my enemy can become my ally. Not my friend, my ally. That is like strategy at its best. Hope in the context of leadership means that you look at everything around you as useful. Nothing is wasted. There's a potential to leverage what's around you to be able to help you move forward. For those of you who are struggling right now, sometimes the path to hope, like we talked about, is saying, here's where it gets real for me, right? And for those of us that love people who are struggling, sometimes your path to hope is giving them reason to hope. It's not judging. It's not blaming. It's not coming in with, here's what you should be doing. Some of you who are stepping into the environment where you're looking at people around you and like, well, you should just be super spiritual. If you're not believing for the best, then you're not saved or whatever. I ain't here for that. I'm sorry. Like, that is not the thing. Jesus met people where they were in the moment. He had the answer, at least from my perspective, but he met people where they were. I love the examples that we have of Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi
Yeah.
and John Lewis and C.T. Vivian,
Yeah.
they were champions for truth. They spoke the truth, but they got busy. They didn't sit around complaining and talking about it and creating circles and chat rooms. They got busy.
And they didn't seduce your emotion. They didn't seduce what you were feeling and then
That's right.
exploit it for their own agenda.
That's right. That's
Hope,
exactly right.
hope does not seduce others. Hope attracts others. Hope does
Say it
not
again.
exploit your emotion, because you see, the enemy of hope is this manipulation that says, I'm going to identify with your emotion, bring language to it, to then exploit your heart for my agenda. And that's the reality. And then what happens is you have that, and the cost for that is hope, by the way. That's the price. Because then you're left with a wake of consequence that you feel hopeless about.
Wow. I don't know about y'all, but this guy right here, when I need hope, when I need to be inspired, like just sitting on the phone with him, y'all, is Pastor Andy good this morning? I need y'all just to give him some love and to remind him, Pastor Andy, it's not lost on me that leaders like you, you're responsible for, for huge teams, and you are one of the amazing pastors at Influencers Church here in Atlanta and Australia. Hey to all my Aussie friends. But that comes with a cost. So for a minute, I'm going to talk to entrepreneurs, but in a minute, can you talk to the leaders out there who are trying to be champions of hope? They're trying to be lighthouses for others. But there's a reality that you go home to every day in your own mind, in your own life. You've got a family, a mortgage, responsibilities. Can you talk to those leaders who maybe feel a little frazzled right now and like, I just don't have it in me to be hopeful? Can you talk to them for just a second?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Karen. You're so kind. Here's what I would say to us who lead people and that are, in essence, known by the message of hope we lead people to, right? I mean, and we all have different past that, but I would say two things. If you struggle to have hope, why you need to lead people in hope, there's a couple of things that I would encourage you to do. Number one is take the time to address and identify why you feel hopeless. And number two, address the emotion of that before you address the origin of that. Meaning, a lot of times for me, if I feel hopeless, I've already spun in a direction where I'm going to be tempted to be a counterfeit, right? And I'm going to be tempted to be a counterfeit.
Say that again. Say that again. That was good. Say that one more time.
Yeah. So I need to address the emotion of my hopelessness, because if I don't, then I'll be tempted to become a counterfeit and not address what I need to address while I'm, again, living my projected reality. Oh, all I do is sit 24/7, and I just, I'm just praying, and I'm just 24/7 hopeful. I've never had a bad day because I have, whatever it is, blah blah blah. So I have to sit in my own reality and address my own emotions and identify it, so that I can remove what wants to make me an imposter, which is a lack of identifying reality for me. And then the second thing is, giving people hope doesn't mean that I'm not wrestling to get where I know we all need to be. It actually makes me become somebody that everybody wants to follow, because I'm not saying I'm there, so I'm not aware of what people are facing. Actually, the greatest leaders are the ones that are actually following their own leadership. And people actually see you following your own leadership by saying, I'm not there. I'm a little discouraged. I know this is a way. Follow me as I follow myself. Because I'm having to bring myself under the influence of what I know to be true and not yet walking 100% in.
You're submitting, you're walking the walk is what you're doing, right?
Right. I'm not telling you the way. I am showing you the way, and you're able. In the world I live in, we talk about following people, right? In my world, we talk about following Jesus, which I love, because my fear is Christianity has become a belief, a religion, instead of following somebody, right? But when you follow somebody, you're not listening to what they're saying. You're watching how they walk, and you're imitating their walk, and it's evidenced by you, or you are able to see what they simply use words to explain. And hope does that. Hope does that, right? When you watch someone like yourself go through crisis with your mother and watch how you walk through that, it's a greater dissertation and keynote conversation than something you put together that's so well packaged, because in it is what captivates all of us. It is the emotions, it's the smells, it's the sights, it's the pain, but then it's the joy, which is what you just described about that game, right? Even in a middle school football game, the ground began to swell because it was not void of a crisis. It was saturated with victory. Victory is never voided of crisis. Victory is always part of that narrative, is crisis that then hope turned around to become victorious. Right? That's why the earth swelled. And even though you didn't know about the game, you were contracted to the game, and therefore were invested. And then guess what? In that moment, everyone that was on your side was a family member that you may not even know by name.
Listen, we did a virtual fist bump with all sorts of people we had never known, because we could begin to feel the tide shifting, right? That one interception did not win the game, but it was the thing that shifted the tide, right?
Absolutely.
So if for those of you that are out there that are like, you know what, I think I should just sit and be quiet. I get it. I had somebody say to me, a leader say to me the other day, like I said something to a woman, she took it the wrong way to mean that I was saying something about her race, and that was not it at all. And I'm like, I don't want to be myself. I want to hide. Boo, I need you to do something different. I need you to show up as you. I need you to be audacious enough to make space for the fact that sometimes people don't have issues. And I get it. You don't want to be attacked. Part of what's happening right now is people don't want to be attacked. So they sit back, right? They stay safe on the sidelines.
So good.
But I want you to know when that one kid decided to do something crazy, he was probably terrified. He did something crazy and went for that ball. All of a sudden, the people who were sitting on the sidelines saying nothing because we were losing, right? They didn't have any spirit when we were losing, y'all. I'm about to preach. They had no spirit when we were losing. But the minute they saw that groundswell, when they saw somebody who had the audacity to hope, y'all, you be the lighthouse. You don't have to get all up in people's stuff. You don't have to agree with them politically. But listen to me. I've had more than a few conversations with people who tried to send stuff my way, pitting me on one side or the other. And I get it. I know my values. I know from who I come from. Don't get it twisted. But my purpose, my calling is to be a lighthouse, right? You walk in your calling. I say all the time, you cannot affect everything, but you can affect some things. Hope is an action,
Yeah.
right? Hope is a state of being. It is also a verb. What does hope look like for you? I need for those of you that are in the comments right now, you're watching this live, maybe on YouTube or on Facebook. I want you to commit to something. I want you to answer this question. What will hope look like for you over the next 30 days? What is hope going to look like for you? That means I need an action plan. I need a statement that says, I will, in your respective area. I don't want you to think about it. Okay. This is not a show where you sit by. Okay. I need you to jump in. What will hope look like for you over the next 30 days? I need somebody to talk about it. I'm going to pop into the comments right here. We've got some good stuff going. Linda Carroll is here. Hey, y'all. It's Linda Carroll. Linda is one of the Rock Your Vision photographers. She's amazing. She's getting ready to do Santa pictures, y'all. I'm just saying, she's here in Georgia and she's absolutely amazing. Let's see. Christy Kent is quoting you here, Pastor Andy. She says, hope does not seduce, it attracts. Come on. I absolutely love this, y'all. And here's why we're talking about this. And I need you to get this, okay? We're getting ready to go into, in the United States, an election season. There's already stuff swirling. People are calling me. And you know what I start off with in those conversations when they call me? I say, do you know Jesus? They don't want any of this, okay? Like they've got to get through their calls or whatever. I'm like, do not call me unless you're ready to have that conversation. Now, I'm not trying to be offensive. This is a very diverse community and I'm here for all of it. You know, I love y'all so much. But my point is, I have made a decision that I'm going to be a lighthouse in this season. I'm going to vote. I'm going to get involved in my community. Okay. I've already started doing that. I just started a relationship with our chief of police because I want to be at the table having conversations. But the reason I'm having conversations is because I know my calling. I'm a lighthouse. What's your calling? In this season where we need hope more than ever, what's your calling? What's your role? What's your place and your space? I need somebody to pop into the comments. Where are you going to make a difference? I had an amazing conversation with a neighbor when the civil unrest started, and he was so upset. Bless his soul. He's like the best human ever. And he's a man of faith. Not the same faith as me, but he's a man of faith. And he's like, Karen, you know, I don't know what to do. I feel so hopeless. And I said, you know what? You don't have to feel hopeless. You can make an impact right where you are. Now, in his case, he's in a certain type of job where he's teaching students. And he's like, what can I do? And I said, are you kidding me? What can you do in your environment? You can be a lighthouse of hope. I want you to think about what hope looks like for you. Tawana Miner says she's putting the plan of the desired place that I want and deserve to be in action. I love this. And I know Tawana, and I know exactly what she means. What she means is she's taking steps now to be able to make an impact, to be a lighthouse of hope in her respective environment. Okay, y'all, I need you to lean in here. I need you to put it in the comments. What is hope going to look like for you over the next 30 days? Okay, Pastor Andy, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is hope going to look like for you over the next 30 days?
So I think the next 30 days, hope's going to look like for me being able to discern between truth and perspective that is not based on truth. I think for me to maintain my hope, I've got to stay close to the truth. Let me just say, some of you said, Karen, I think is worth repeating again about when this individual said, I feel so hopeless, meaning there's this sense of wave that something needs to be done, but we seem to not still be able to get unified around what needs to be done. And I think it's because just because let me see if I can say this the way it needs to be said. I don't have to take responsibility for your decisions, but I'm happy to take responsibility for the consequences of your actions because of your decisions, so that no one else has to be hurt. And I think
Tell me what you mean.
I think a lot of time people lose hope because they feel like they're responsible for somebody's decisions. I'm not responsible for your decisions. I didn't do anything, but I am responsible to make sure that the actions that your decisions made are not allowed to happen again, so that no one else gets hurt. And that's in life, right?
Right.
When I take responsibility for the product of somebody's actions, like one of my children, when we're over at somebody's house and they break something because they were being careless, I didn't break it. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. But I'm happy to take responsibility for the actions or the outcome of their actions that happened because of their decision, because I want relationships to stay intact. So it's we don't have a redemptive approach to anything we're facing right now. We have we have an idea that it's a one and done, and I didn't do that. Great, but I want to be a part of the solution. So hope to me in the next 30 days looks like making sure I'm looking for opportunities to be redemptive, where I know the difference between that person that says to you, they took it the wrong way. Okay, pause for a moment. I'm not responsible for your decisions, but I'm happy because I understand I needed redemption in areas of my life. I needed a leader to believe in me when I blew it, so I could still keep my job and reach my potential. And now that leader redeemed me when they could have eliminated me. That wasn't their fault that I made the decision, but they were happy to come around me. And what were they happy to do? Take responsibility for the fruit of my actions, so that moving forward, no one else, the company wasn't, you know what I'm saying? The point is,
I do know what you're saying.
Hope looks different. Hope looks for opportunities for redemption. And therefore, I'm happy to own the solution for the redemption of all.
Hope, say that again. Hope looks for redemption.
Yeah, looks for opportunities for redemption.
It looks for opportunities for redemption.
Yeah, like how beautiful is that? And
I think it's powerful.
Right. And that's why, to me, and redemption for all. What are we redeeming? Not just the one that blew it, but the victim of the one that blew. Like Hope says, let's come because crisis has created this tragedy that left unaddressed. Because look, you just because you acknowledge where the fault was doesn't mean you've healed all the pieces that the fault created.
Right. That goes back to that blame thing we were talking about earlier, right? Blame is not redemption, and blame doesn't move the needle forward. Come on.
And justice is not redemption. Justice is justice. And you can get justice and still not be redeemed. So we have to go a step further.
Yeah. Christy Kent says, hope has an expectation of a positive outcome, even when the story doesn't look like it will end well.
Come on.
Christy Kent, come on. She says, I'm going to look for opportunities to be a lighthouse of encouragement and hope in my environment. Love people. You know, one of the things that people have always said about me, and it isn't like 100% true, but it's like 98% true. And that is that it doesn't matter what kind of situation I walk into. I mean, I make a living out of going into situations that are difficult, dealing with people that are very upset, where the stakes are really, really high. And people will say, Karen, I don't understand. How did you just go into that environment? How did you sit before that judge? How did you do da 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 da? And the reason is because I know my center. I'm okay with my center. Whatever's going on, I know that that person is going through a process. I know that person or that situation or that team is going through a process. My goal is to facilitate the process. My goal is to facilitate the process. So, as we talk about hope, for just a moment, I want to talk to entrepreneurs. For those of you that are starting businesses, or maybe you have a business, maybe you are, when the year started, you planted some seeds and you started getting some things going. Lawrence Henderson, we're going to have him on a stream, and his story is amazing, and his perspective is amazing. But he started a business at the beginning of the year. And I know several of you have started a business at the beginning of the year. And then coronavirus hit, and it's like, what the hey? Like, what do I do with that? Right. And it can be tempting to feel discouraged. Some of you had contracts. That was me, right? You had work that you were planning for. You had plans. You had invested in some things to be able to take it to the next level, to play bigger. You did all of those things. So for those of you that are entrepreneurs and you're trying to figure out how to have hope, listen to me very carefully. It may in fact be true that in this season, things have shifted for you. Maybe you even had to close your business. Maybe you had to go back to work. The circumstances of what's happened in our world and in our country, you don't have any control over. But as long as you have a pulse, you have a purpose. I'm going to get it on a t-shirt. What that means is your purpose did not die with coronavirus. Your purpose, your calling may have gotten scrambled, but it ain't over, because you can take who it is you are, what it is you were called to do, because all of that lives right in here. It doesn't live in a building. It isn't attached to a job. Come on. It is not attached to a job. What I need you to do is to think about the alternative. So ask yourself questions like, if not this, then what? What are the opportunities? Okay. If you started down the path of being a creative entrepreneur and you've had to close your shop or do something different, you can take that creative energy and go somewhere else and use that creative energy. Somebody else can benefit from that creative energy. You say, well, Karen, you don't understand. I'm a hairdresser. I understand that. But that creative energy that allows you to slay hair can be translated into something else. I'm not talking about rainbows and unicorns, y'all. I'm talking about strategy. I'm talking about being audacious with hope. Hope says, fear, I'm going to go through you, around you, or over you, or under you, but you can't have me. That's what hope says, y'all. Hope says, as long as I have a pulse, I have a purpose. Now, in my case, this is just for me, so don't y'all send me any nasty grams. For me, when my pulse goes away, my purpose is in heaven. So I'm good. I got a plan and it's good. But listen to me very carefully. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, that same creative energy, that same compelling desire to do something, to make a difference, to make an impact can be translated into something else. I don't care if you have to go work at Kohl's or whatever your department store is, because you can make an impact there. I was talking with a woman who had to go work at Kohl's. She lost her job. She went to go work at Kohl's because they were hiring. Okay. She made a connection folding sweaters at Kohl's. Y'all may have missed it. Okay. Your delay is not necessarily your denial. So whatever that is, I need you to look at things differently. When I finally got to the place that I accepted I could not cure my mother. Okay. Now this is deep, y'all. This is just too big for today, and we're going to end it in a minute. But when I realized I couldn't cure my mother, I decided, okay, what can I impact? What can I influence? You know what? We took a completely different approach to her caregiving. We walked up in there, we brought little gifts and treats to the folks in the uh in the doctor's office. Okay? We prayed with people in the doctor's office. We spoke to the patients that were sitting there looking like they didn't have a friend. When we came home and we had hard places, listen to me. And this is like, if you have children around, I need you to move them out of the way for just a minute because this is a little bit grown. But when I was giving mom enemas because she couldn't give them to herself, we sang Moon River. And you know what? It went from being a dark, horrible experience to being a memory we created together. My family and I still laugh about that. We created something out of nothing, y'all. Y'all ain't ready for this morning. I'm serious. I'm
Come
done.
on, come on.
I'm done, but I just needed y'all to hear me this morning. Hope is audacious. It is
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
an action. It is active. So, whatever it is you're dealing with this morning, my hope is that you will commit over the next 30 days to be a lighthouse. You may not feel like it. I get it. Hope oftentimes does not have to do with how you feel, it has to do with what you want on the other side of what you feel.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right now, today is a beautiful place to start. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't. But you can be a lighthouse. I want you to think about what you can do over the next 30 days. Andy Smith, listen to me. You are all that and a bag of chips, okay? I love you so much. I respect you. I'm so grateful that you are living hope, that you walk it out every day, even when you don't feel like it. I'm so grateful that you love God's people and you're committed to win it all the way. I'm so thankful you're my friend and
Yeah.
we love you in this community. Thank you for being our community pastor. Love you to pieces.
Thank you, Karen. This has been an honor and this is a joy. Hey, let me just say one parting thing. As you were talking, I feel like this is something that you are saying that is perfectly needed for everyone, is where hope is offensive, hope is desperately needed. And that is the mark.
Mm,
And what you did with your mother and what you've done with so many other situations and how you've gone into places that are hopeless. What people need to know is where hope is offensive, hope is desperately needed. You don't run from that place. You run to that place. And that's what you've done. And that's why you're such a lighthouse to so many people around us. So thank you for what you do.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. You know, I love y'all so much. I may fuss at you every once in a while, but it's just because I love you. Okay. We're going to win this. We're going to get to the other side. And I just want you to know that there is something on the other side of this. Until the Lord calls us home, there is work to be done. Who cares if it's different? It's okay that it's different. We're leaders. All right. We can handle it. But what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to support each other. We're going to lean on each other. And I'm just excited and honored every Monday you guys join me. So thank you for those of you that were in the live stream. And if you're watching this on replay, just pop in #replay and share it. We want to get this going viral, this discussion about hope. I absolutely love the fact that we could talk about it together. And here's what I really just want you to know. I'm just saying, you've got more options than you realize. Until next time, everybody, y'all have a great week. I need y'all to put in your power plays. All right. Love you. Have a great week. Hold on, Pastor Andy.